Hey, I'm really excited about this video because a lot of you have asked me about investing, and investing specifically in rental properties. And so today we're going to talk about a couple of those things that you need to know before you purchase a property to invest in. Because I'm in Provo, we live in a student town, there's a lot of students around here and a lot of people that see the vision of, let me buy a piece of property and I'll rent it out to students and start making an income off of it each month, which is a really good idea. Real estate is a fantastic investment, but it's good to know your stuff before you spend a ton of money on a piece of property. Okay, so first off, there's just a couple of things, a couple of risks that you need to know before you purchase something that you should just be aware of. And the first one is that depending on the location that you buy your rental property in, there are time periods where your rental property may be vacant. So keep that in mind. It could be sitting empty between renters, lowering your overall income. Another thing to just be aware of is that you could incur legal expenses if you have to evict a bad tenant for any particular reason. A third risk is that you could possibly have to pay unexpected expenses if you have a renter who causes damage to your property. Okay, so aside from the risks, there's a lot of things to keep in mind before you purchase your investment property. And the first one I think should definitely be number one is location. Location. When you're looking at a specific property, you need to think about what's near it, what's going to attract renters to rent this specific piece of property. It could be a school, it could be shopping malls, different restaurants, things like that. You need to consider what the crime rate is. And then also take a look at other rentals around the location that you're looking at and what they're renting for, what people are willing to pay. You also want to take a look at what has happened to property values in that area over the last couple years. Have they stayed the same? Have they increased? Have they decreased? This is all information that's just good to know. Okay, in terms of the overall investment, you need to think about cash flow. That's so important. So 3 specific things to think about with cash flow. You need to think about the initial cost, what are your expenses going to be, and what is the income potential that you can make while you own it. In thinking about those expenses, you want to make sure you're aware that the current owner's mortgage is likely going to be different than yours. So don't think about theirs, think about what yours is going to be depending on the loan that you get. There are a lot of questions to ask yourself when looking at the specific property. I have personally never bought an investment property, but I would research, learn as much as you can about those questions that you need to be asking yourself about the property you're looking at. Some questions you should ask yourself are, does the property have a strong rental history? And if it does, you want to know when was the last time it was vacant and how long did it take to find someone to take up that vacant spot? Second question is, how much do the current tenants pay in rent? And then look at properties surrounding it as well and see what those tenants are paying, just so you kind of know what you're competing with. You want to know what were the property's expenses over the last at least 12 months. And before purchasing, you could see if the owner will give you the profit and loss statements over the last couple years. Those would be really good to look at. A big one is you want to make sure that the estimated income is going to cover your mortgage payment and those estimated extra expenses. Okay, with expenses, you're gonna have fixed expenses and you're gonna have variable expenses. Some of your fixed expenses are going to be insurance, property taxes, those routine maintenance and repairs, and the cost of any property management services that you're planning on using. Okay, variable expenses, these are your unexpected expenses that you should expect. So plan for the unexpected. There are a lot of questions that you should ask so that you can better prepare and better understand and plan for those unexpected expenses and which ones are likely to occur. Such as, how old is the roof? Does it look like it's in good condition? How old is the HVAC unit? How old is the compressor? Does the floor sag or slant in any specific direction? Is there evidence of water damage in any of the rooms? So bathroom, kitchen, bedrooms, I would look all around for that and ask the owner about it. You also want to look at the condition of the siding and the exterior of the house. The good thing is that a lot of these things will get caught if you hire an inspector. Most people get an inspector before they purchase a property, and it's usually a good idea. They'll catch a lot of things. It's okay if they catch things. I would plan on them catching things, but there are some things that are worse than others, and you just kind of need to weigh the pros and cons of it, especially when you're making an investment decision. So which rentals are the good ones? That is a decision for you as an investor to make. But there are a lot of different rules of thumbs that people suggest here and there, such as the 1% rule. And the 1% rule is that if 1 month's rent is equal to or greater than 1% of the home's value, then it's a good deal. There's other rules of thumbs that say if the rental income is enough to pay off all of the expenses and the mortgage in 10 to 15 years, then it's a good deal. Ultimately, you as the investor have to make that decision yourself. I would do a lot of research before making that decision just to know which properties meet your personal requirements. You also want to make sure that you're not overpaying for your property. The way that you can do this is you talk to an appraiser or a real estate agent, and they can figure out what the going price for that property would be in the market compared to other similar properties, and that way you can know if the asking price is about where it should be compared to the market as a whole. Another thing to know before you purchase a property is that you should consider your investment loan options. There are lots of options. You can go to different loan officers and they'll give you different bids, and then you can kind of compare them against each other and decide which one works best for you. And the last thing to know before you purchase an investment rental property, assuming this is your first rental investment property, you want to make sure you have your debts taken care of. This is going to be a huge thing you're going to take on. So just consider the debts that you have. If you've got a car payment or school loans, things like that, definitely take those into account before taking on a mortgage loan. And that's the end of our video, guys. Just as a general rule, research, 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 and learn everything you can about investing. Talk to some people who have actually been successful in having investment rental properties, especially ones that have done it a couple times. You'll learn a lot from those who have experience and hopefully be able to learn from the mistakes that they made and the tips that they have for you. So if you're planning on investing in a rental property, good luck, you can do it. Real estate is almost always a fantastic investment because prices will increase with inflation, and the price that you pay for it now is most likely going to be significantly less than what you're able to sell it for years down the road. And even better if it's a rental property and you're making money off of it each month from the tenants that are living in it. So good luck!